Good morning, everybody. So I'm sorry that the video ended so abruptly yesterday. So halfway through the walking tour, I started falling asleep and it was so hard for me to keep my eyes open, and I ended up just kind of forgetting to say goodbye. So I do apologize about that. And this morning I went to go get a bus ticket, so I will be leaving from Serbia today and I'm going to Mostar tonight on a night bus. It'll be my very first night bus. But right now I'm back at Kalemegdan Fortress and there's a really pretty park around it. It looks like fall and it makes me really excited. So I'm from San Diego, so we don't really get much fall, but around here it is so pretty. The leaves are changing. Look at how pretty it is behind me. So really quickly, I wanted to talk about my first impressions of Belgrade, Serbia. When I first got here, I didn't have the best impression yesterday because in the airport, remember that situation in the airport yesterday? I was upset that they lied to me about the ATMs and I just didn't find them very helpful there at the airport. But as soon as I got to my hostel, my host was super nice, so that changed my perspective. And then when I went out to lunch, this lady was super sweet as well. So what had happened was I ordered some burek, and then a few minutes later she brought me yogurt out for free because she saw that was my first time having it and she just wanted to be helpful. But it's hard because I've also run into people who are not super nice or super helpful. Mainly these are the tourism people. So at the airport, and then again when I got my bus ticket, nobody wanted to help me with the times that buses are leaving to Mostar, because that's where I'm trying to go next. So people would just say, no, nothing today. And they wouldn't offer anything about Sarajevo, which is the biggest city right next to Mostar. And then the first person I went to at the bus station said, no, there's nothing to Mostar for today and I'll have to wait until tomorrow. So I went to a different person and that person told me that there was a bus today at 12 and tonight. So I ended up getting the night bus, but I just thought it was strange that the first person told me there was nothing available when the second person said there was. So that's a bit iffy, but the locals I've met have been really nice. I will continue talking about more of my impressions as we go, but for now let's start with just going to the fortress and getting some shots. That was a drinking fountain and they're everywhere. They're all over this park, and yesterday we learned that since it's drinkable water, they put it everywhere and locals go and they just drink it, and I've seen a lot of people just drinking out of their hands, which is pretty cool. So right there behind me is a ton of clubs. Belgrade has a huge nightlife scene and a huge party scene. I guess because it's a big backpacker spot, it's a real big party spot as well. So those are clubs along the river. So I don't think you could see it, but it is completely trashed up here. There's glass all over the ground. There's graffiti on the walls. It's just so different. Usually when I go into castles, they're really well preserved. Fortresses are always really nice. And it's just so strange to see it trashed like that. Now that we are done inside the fortress, it's time to head over to Republic Square. Republic Square is where we met yesterday to start the walking tour, and I really liked that area and I'd like to see it again. There's such like a large contrast of buildings here, which I also think is really cool. So on one side is like an older building, and then right behind me is a very large, very new shopping center. And since we're talking about impressions and impressions of people, there's another person who works in the tourism industry who was very rude, not pushy, trying to sell me things, like straight up rude, and I didn't want to talk to him, and he was just very inconsiderate. So another bad impression of the tourism here. And that is it for Public Square. Now I'm going to go back inside the hostel because I really need to charge my phone. Then I'll finish sightseeing later. So I will see you at the next spot. And now my phone is charged. Hopefully it's charged enough. But we're going to continue sightseeing. First we're going to go to St. Mark's Church. Crossing the street is terrifying here. I thought I was just going to come look at the outside, but it turns out there's actually a door open. So let's go see what it looks like on the inside. Now we're going to go try to find another cathedral. It is called Church of St. Sava, and it's supposed to be the largest Orthodox cathedral in the world. So I am starving. I actually haven't eaten all day, and every single time I go to find a restaurant, and I've walked into most of them, they all tell me they don't have any food, only alcohol. Remember how I told you that it was a big party city? But I finally came across this place, and it's so cute, and the owner was so nice to me. So I got cevapi, and a juice, and I'm so happy I found it, and I'm so happy that he was so nice. I just had a panic attack where I thought I lost my phone, but it was in my backpack the whole time. I went in to ask the owner if I had left it in there, and he was so nice, and he tried to help me find it. He offered to call my phone, and it was just really sweet. So I really appreciate the locals here. I think the locals are so willing to help you out when you need it. I just got my food and it looks so good. So I decided to try cevapi, I think is what it's called. So really big sandwich, and it looks like there's meat inside, like some sausages, and then I added some tomatoes and cucumbers and onions. So let's taste it. It's really good. The bread is grilled, and I haven't gotten the sausage, but it was good without it. It is very good. And for the juice, I got raspberry and apple. Their whole menu pretty much had apple in it, so I figured apple was a typical ingredient in their smoothies out here. And that's good as well. Since it came like that, I thought it'd be more of a juice than a smoothie, but it actually does have quite a bit of a smoothie texture. So you see how big this is, right? This whole thing and the smoothie juice only cost me $5. It was like $4.80. That's such a good deal. I feel so much better now that I've eaten. That was my first full meal in days. Ever since I got on the plane, I wasn't able to eat. And I don't know if it's because I was too tired or the jet lag. I don't know what it was. But it was the first time I was able to eat. And now I just feel great, and I'm ready to go see the huge cathedral. So let's wrap up my first impressions of Belgrade, Serbia. So number one, I loved the food. I thought they had really great food here. Number two, the locals were all super nice, and everybody was so helpful, which I really greatly appreciated. And then just the buildings and the structures were different to me and made an impression because you saw architecture from so many different time periods and from so many different rulers, like Ottoman buildings or Russian-made buildings, and it was just so different, and I felt like it had such a rich history. And then let's talk about the locations. So there were some locations that were absolutely beautiful. The street Skadalihara, I probably didn't say it right, but that street is absolutely gorgeous. It has the cobblestone streets, it has restaurants playing traditional Serbian music, and that was a really great street, and that made a really good impression on me. But there were places that didn't, and to be completely honest, as a solo female traveler, there were parts of the city where I did not feel safe walking around by myself. I did want to mention that I didn't always feel 100% safe. So overall, I did greatly enjoy my time here. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you for listening to my first impressions.